everyone, hope we're doing well. Looks like we finally got a replacement for Sebastian Haller. It's been a while, hasn't it? But it looks like West Ham are going to have a new striker in the coming days, as the Sassuolo CEO has confirmed there's an agreement in place between themselves and West Ham United for Gianluca Scamacca. The deal is €36 million plus potential €6 million add-ons and a 10% sell-on clause as well. So should the Hammers sell him in future, wherever we sell him for, Sassuolo will get 10% of that fee. It equates to about £30.5 million plus potential £5 million add-ons as well. It's difficult to say whether it's a good deal or not, in all honesty, because I don't know much about him. He's a player I've heard of, because I know he's always sort of been, I say always, recently he's been considered as Italy's future number 9. So when we first got linked to him, I didn't believe it, because I was going on reputation. And I thought, well, there's no way we're going to go get Italy's striker, are we? Surely he's going to go to like a big Italian club or something like that. And I was convinced it was just a game of bluff from West Ham in order to flush out Chelsea with Amanda Broja, because it's been reported that that was David Moyes' number 1 striker target. So it felt like it was a little bit convenient to speed up the process a little bit. And that still might have been the case. You know, Scamacca could easily have been the second choice. Maybe he was actually the first choice, and the reports regarding Broja have been incorrect. Who knows? But when the reports came out, I was a little bit dismissive of this one. But like I said, I've always said this, it's difficult to get excited that much about a player that you don't know enough about. It's easier to do it for players that you are aware of and how you can see them fitting into the way that West Ham play under David Moyes. However, later on in this video, we've got a clip from someone that does know all about Gianluca Scamacca. We link up with Euro Expert over on our Patreon. We get him to do sort of little snippets about players that we're linked to that perhaps we haven't heard of or we're not too familiar with, and he's done one on Scamacca, and he's very excited by it. Let's put it like that. So that'll be coming up. So if you don't know enough about him, stick around, because there's a 2-minute clip to give you a little bit of an in-depth analysis about him in just 2 minutes. We all like that, don't we? But yes, it looks like West Ham's going to get their man, and it's definitely accelerated at the back end of last week. Now, why that is, I think there's 3 potential reasons. Now, none of them are applicable, but I think at least one of them is because it seems to have sped up a lot in the last 48 hours, and that is Chelsea with Amanda Broja. You know, Tuchel has been quite consistent in the last 2-3 weeks saying, we're not selling him. I want him here. I want to have a look at him. I want him at Chelsea next season. And we're always a bit like, well, he's going to say that. What else is he going to say when he's got a microphone stuck in his face asked about one of his players? He's hardly going to say, yes, we're actively looking to sell this striker. I don't see him as part of my team next season. He's always going to say what he said. But perhaps it looks like he's being serious, and it wasn't really a game of politics for Thomas Tuchel. So perhaps that's one of the reasons, because it feels like it has just gone a little bit cold on our pursuit for Amanda Broja. The second one is the defeat to Rangers. Now, it is just a friendly, so on and so forth, but I'm not talking about the result of the performance. I'm talking about the reaction of David Moyes after that game. He was visibly frustrated, I think, and he literally stood there and said, we need to get players in. This is what I've just seen is not good enough. We're too far away from where we need to be for the season starting in a couple of weeks. We need to get players in now. We need to do better at negotiating. And then obviously, here we are, a handful of days later, there's a £35 million striker getting ready to board a plane in Italy and fly over to London for personal term negotiations. So that's a bit of something that's possibly sped up. And the third one is the Jesse Lingard factor. Now, I think this is the least likely reason, but obviously Tuesday night we found out that Jesse's actually away to Nottingham Forest, so Moyes hasn't got one of his players that he wanted to get in. So I don't know, maybe it's a combination of all 3 or something, but this seems to have sped up a little bit, and perhaps all those 3 things are a bit of a blessing in disguise, really, because it has got us moving. But the one thing I do like is that I feel like our transfer strategy has changed from the January and last summer, and even January before that as well, because Moyes would almost have, or we'd feel like Moyes has the player he wants, and that is it, really. You know, I have Youssef En-Nesyri. Well, you can't get him. No, but I want Youssef You can't get him. Who else? Well, I want Youssef En-Nesyri. Yeah, but you can't get him, Dave. So who else do you want? Well, I don't want anyone then. I'll wait for someone else. And then even in January gone by, we know we've bid for Calvin Phillips. Moyes has confirmed it. We know we bid for Rafinha. We know we bid for Darwin Núñez. These bids have all but been confirmed. but it was almost like them or nobody. I want Calvin Phillips and no other centre midfielder. I want Darwin Núñez or no other striker. Well, this summer it feels like Moyes' transfer strategies just weakened a little bit, in a good way though. I'm not fixated on one player. I'll go after him, but if I can't get him, I'm going to move on to the next one. We couldn't afford to wait for Chelsea and Armando Broja, and I was a little bit worried that we were going to, that not quite Jesse Lingard, but until Broja moved elsewhere, while he was still at Chelsea, and we still felt that Chelsea may sell, I was a bit concerned that we would essentially just put all our eggs in one basket. That's the striker we want, we'll wait for him. And it just feels like that's not necessarily the case this summer. And I also feel, I haven't really mentioned this in any other videos on YouTube, and that is, I think we're going after easier targets, if that makes sense. I felt like in January we were going after a striker that ended up at Liverpool, a winger that ended up at Liverpool, a winger that ended up at Barcelona, a defensive midfielder that's ended up at Manchester City. We were trying to almost pick up targets that were going to the big boys in European football, which is admirable, but I would suggest also a little bit unrealistic. Whereas I think we've come down a step a little bit, and we're not going after essentially the world-class players, or maybe not even the elite players, but the ones down that, which is, I think, where we should be doing our shopping. We're getting in players that have got big ability, and in regards to some of them, have got good potential for the future as well. The prices are a little bit more affordable. Instead of £50 million, we're in the £30 million bracket. I think we've just sort of changed our transfer strategy a little bit. Is it the Rob Newman influence? Has David Moyes just had a change of the way he wants to go about things? I'm not too sure, but I feel like that's what's happening. And then this Gianluca Scamacca deal is another part of that, as far as I'm concerned, because, like I said, we're moving on from Armando Broja pretty quickly. Now, perhaps the more interesting thing is he's got the same agent as, of course, Filip Kostic. Anyway, before I talk about Filip Kostic, will we find out what Euro experts got to say about Gianluca Scamacca? Let's have a little listen.
Gianluca Scamacca is moving to West Ham, and I'm going to tell you right now, this is easily, for me, the best transfer of the summer. So here's my expanded take on him just for you. Scamacca started playing at Lazio, then moved to Roma, then PSV, aged 15, then to Sassuolo, where the striker has been since 2017, and played last season at the top of a 4-2-3-1. Scamacca has dazzled Europe with his goals, but really more than anything, the way he plays and his frame. See, Scamacca is 6'5", which might make him look like a target man, but this guy idolises and plays like Zlatan Ibrahimovic. His agility and tendency to do step-overs and skills are beautiful to watch. It's why he's shining out amongst the crowd. This is a very well-rounded striker who can bulldoze defenders out of the way while operating with the trickery of a winger. Last season, in fact, he scored 16 goals in Serie A, which for a 22-23-year-old is great. Even more so was the goals per 90, where he came 5th in all of Serie A for non-penalty goals. This should really excite fans, because that stat was for goals per 90. If he had played every game last season and maintained the output, he would have finished the league season with closer to 30 goals. He was also decent at receiving the ball successfully, and really his only weakness was his goal sources, with no left-footed league goals. Still, Scamacca can do so much for West Ham going forward. He can pick up the ball in midfield and help West Ham move up the pitch by holding defenders off to pass it elsewhere. He can also operate closer to goal and thrive off crosses or on the ground in and around the box. As most people know him for his ball striking, Scamacca is great at thundering shots at goal with little backlift. Effectively, this is perfect for West Ham. As more teams sit deeper against them, he'll be a true danger man in and around the box. I love this move. This is probably Europe's most exciting striker out of Haaland and Núñez. He's got the physical build to last for the next decade really, and he's got the right mentality to keep improving. So the signing of the window across Europe deservedly goes to Gianluca Scamacca to West Ham. It gets a 10 out of 10.
Thanks to Euro Expert for that. He's making me more excited. I've barely seen Scamacca play, but I'm getting more excited about the player as well thanks to that. But that's the type of clips he provides for our patrons as well. Now, David Moyes is making his own signing with his own big man to put the ball in the back of the net. And you can get yourself over to Manscaped and pick up a lawnmower 4 to look after your own big man and your own balls as well. This is the tool that's designed to help you down there, and it's got the torch that you never knew you needed. Trust me, when you get this and you think, why is the torch there? And you use it, you know why the torch is there. This is waterproof, so you can use it in the shower, and it also helps reduce ingrown hairs downstairs as well. But it's not all about scoring. Well, it is, but you need somebody that's going to set you up. And that's why West Ham are also after Filip Kostic. But Manscaped provide the assists as well. They've got the ball toner, they've got the ball deodorant, they've got the boxer shorts, they've got the cologne, they've got everything that you need to make sure you're ready for the new season. Downstairs and on the neck, it smells good. But when you score, you're ready for it. Head over to Manscaped and have a look around. Anything that you want, whack it in your basket. Then when you get to the checkout, put in the code HammersChat, all one word. Everything's in the description below. It'll take off 20% off absolutely everything you've ordered, plus give you free shipping worldwide. And a massive thank you for Manscaped for continuing to support the channels. Much appreciated. Now, same agent, Filip Kostic, Gianluca Scamacca. Should make the deal a little bit easier for Kostic, shouldn't it, in theory? Because we've now got a relationship going. We've got an open lines of communication going with Scamacca's agent. And that's all that we're waiting for, by the way. The Scamacca deal is personal terms are still to be agreed. However, it sounds like it won't be an issue. Once those personal terms are agreed, Scamacca will fly over to London. He's already in Rome, ready to catch the plane. So I expect he's going to be in London tomorrow. And hopefully by Tuesday we'll have a new striker signed. But we're also after Filip Kostic. Now, we were linked to him last week as sort of like an alternative to the left back. Now, I'm still not keen on Kostic playing left back. Let me make that clear. Left wing back, fantastic. He's been brilliant for Frankfurt at left wing back. Switches off at times defensively, but it doesn't mean he doesn't get back. It doesn't mean that he won't put in the hard graft. Every player can switch off at times, I suppose. Left winger, another brilliant player. We had Darmesh on Friday who told us he's joint third in the list with Trent Alexander-Arnold and Jadon Sancho for assists in the top 5 leagues in European football in the last 4 years. So that's promising as well. He does also take set pieces at Frankfurt, which helps boost those numbers. But you've still got to be good at them, don't you? There's loads of players who take set pieces, but their assists are nowhere near what Kostic has done. So as a left wing back, as a left winger, big fan of him. As a left back, I'm very, very suspicious about it. However, we have been linked with 1 or 2 other left backs, which is sort of maybe a little bit more hopeful, I guess. Maybe Moyes sees something in him that could play left back and do a good job there. And I guess at times there will be some teams in the Premier League, but you could possibly count them on one hand. That's the problem, that Kostic at left back would probably work and would actually be probably what we prefer, because it'll give us that attacking outlet from deep, like we saw Aaron Creswell do yesterday against Luton in the friendly. The cross was from quite deep and quite infield. It was a fantastic cross though for Souček. But it sounds like West Ham are in advanced talks with Frankfurt. They believe to be between 10 and 15 million. We haven't really started discussing personal terms yet by the sounds of it. However, like I said, due to the agent links between Gianluca Scamacca and Filip Kostic, I say agent links, they've got the same agent. It must help West Ham's sort of negotiations there. So I'm quite hopeful in regards to both deals. You know, we can all imagine what the link-up's going to be. Scamacca is 6'5". Kostic is a fantastic crosser of the ball. We can all close our eyes and imagine what's going to happen here at West Ham United. It doesn't take a genius to work out what is potentially the plan. There's 2 statistics that stand out to me in regards to the difference between last season, where we finished 7th, and the season before, where we finished 6th, with our style of play. So going from when we finished 6th to finish 7th, our crosses went down, our average possession during a game went up, which is fine. But I don't necessarily feel it was due to the way that we played. It wasn't like we decided we're going to play a different style. I think we tried to play the same style, barring the dynamic of Souček and Rice. I think generally our style of play remained the same. It was just more difficult. Teams sat off against us a little bit more, which is understandable. You're going to do that when you see West Ham and how they performed in that season when they finished 6th. It became more dangerous. Our reputation increased. West Ham rock up. Whoa, hang on. They're very good on the counter-attack. Let's not let them counter-attack. Let's sit back. And I have to admit, even in the friendlies this summer, when the ball has been in open play, and if we're not crossing it, I feel like we're struggling to create many chances. Yesterday against Luton, I can only recall 1 chance created from open play, and that was Lanzini giving it to Michail Antonio. Now, the other one for Antonio, we didn't create that. It was an error in defence that led to Antonio being one-on-one. So I feel like we're struggling a little bit in pre-season to break teams down. And listen, for 80% of the stuff I see in pre-season, I will happily say it is only pre-season. But like I said, when you're seeing something that you've seen last season, I think you're very naive to ignore it and suggest it's only because it's pre-season, and that's something I'm seeing. I felt like towards the end of last season, the second half of the season really, from December onwards, if I'm being honest, I felt we were quite flat in attack and that we did struggle to break a lot of teams down. We got found out a little bit. So this purchase, or this potential purchase of Filip Kostic, would certainly increase the amount of crosses we do, but also increase the quality of the crosses as well. Because when, I'm quite critical of Ben Johnson in the final third, and I stand by that, I still think he is poor in the final third, then I think when he does cross it, a lot of the time it can be a little bit hit and hope, and I think Soufal can be as well, whereas I think Creswell's probably our best crosser. I think Soufal gets forward really well, gets into good positions, get the crosses in, but they're not very accurate. He just sort of keeps putting them in and hoping one of them will work. Law of averages almost. I think Kostic will, if we sign Kostic, he's automatically our best crosser in the team in theory. In my opinion anyway, he will be our best player for crossing the ball from open play. And I think that will just, if teams sit back against West Ham, it's will do so at your peril, because we'll just give the ball out to Kostic and start whipping it in to a 6'5" striker, possibly playing alongside Mikel Antonio, and with Thomas Souček arriving in the box. Because one thing we missed last season was Souček getting on the end of crosses. You won't change my opinion on that. Fantastic headed goal yesterday as well, his second goal of pre-season, but that header yesterday was really, really good. And in a weird way, we saw with Vlasic, I never knew Vlasic could head the ball, never mind head it like that. Against Reading, that header was fantastic as well. So if we want to get the best out of Souček, what do we need? We need him in the box. But that's only half the problem. That's only half the solution. The other half is, well, getting the ball to him. Kostic, instant solution really. It'll be interesting. I think I feel a bit stupid and hypocritical saying this, bearing in mind we do these videos every single day looking at stuff. I've seen a lot of people suggest yesterday's formation means we're going to play 3 at the back going forward. I still think it's because of personnel available and the fact that we only had one fit senior centre-back in Kurt Zouma. I'm aware we finished the game with 4 at the back and Ben Johnson playing as a traditional centre-back in a back 4, but I think the reason we set up with 3 at the back was just because of players available and the fact that we could play Masuaku left wing back, have a look at Soufal. Now don't get me wrong, I'm sure next season there will be games we play a back 3, but I think most games will play a back 4. And that's fine. I like the fact that Moyes has got 2-3 formations that we are really familiar with. Every player knows their role, and that he's happy to alternate between them depending on the opponent that we're coming up against. I wouldn't be surprised, first game of the season we do play 3 at the back against Manchester City, but the second game of the season, away to Nottingham Forest, I would expect us to almost switch to 4 at the back as well. And this is where Kostic can cover 2 roles easily. Left wing back or left wing, easy, can cover both of them. And I like it. I like this signing as well. And for somebody, if he wasn't starting, he's on the bench, he's a fantastic asset to have there as well. It's a really cheap fee, because he's only got a year to go on his contract at Frankfurt. He's 29, so I think when you take those things into consideration, his fee between 10 and 15 million is quite low in the modern day. Let's put it this way: Flynn Downs was 9 million. Jordan Hugo, few seasons ago now, was 10 million. I'm aware of the circumstances around Flynn Downs because he's younger. You're buying a bright prospect from the Championship, and my point is, that's what Flynn Downs is. You're buying Flynn Downs' potential. With Kostic, you're buying a ready-made player today. Somebody that can just walk into that West Ham 11. Flynn Downs can't do that. He's probably not quite good enough just to walk into that team and put Souček out of it. Kostic is good enough to walk into that team. I'm excited for it. I'm confident Gianluca Scamacca is going to happen. Optimistic about Filip Kostic, but he's a player I've liked for a few seasons now. Well, I say a few seasons. You could go back to our videos about Sebastian Haller that we done, and I speak about Kostic in there because a big part of getting the best out of Sebastian Haller was Filip Kostic swinging the ball in from left wing back. I might actually go find a video that I mentioned that in to use it in future. But a huge part of Sebastian Haller arriving at West Ham, the one thing I was a little bit wary about, was a huge part of Haller's game came from Filip Kostic. Luka Jovic And Rebic got all the plaudits as well. That front three got loads of plaudits at Frankfurt, deservedly so. And I always felt Kostic was somewhat underrated because he was only a left wing back. But in regards to their attacking threat, he was massive. I'm really excited for Filip Kostic at West Ham United. Fingers crossed we can get that one in as well. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there. That's the update. That's the latest on Gianluca Scamacca. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please do drop a like on it, subscribe to the YouTube channel. And I might be back tonight, actually. And you might get 2 videos from me today because I need to do my final episode of my summer series. But there's also loads of transfer rumours. The pink book is bulging. And, well, that's not all it's bulging, thanks to Manscaped. Anyway, I'll leave it there and I'll catch you in a bit.